Hello, and welcome to
Hell on Earth.
My name is Cassidy,
My name is Casey.
and together we are the Bell Sisters. Join us each week as we corrupt your soul,
And bring you to salvation.
discussing life, death, and everything in between.
Are you afraid of getting into heaven?
Hello,
Hello.
and welcome.
To Bell on Earth. Today is the final episode of this season.
Also, the final day of Pride.
Fitting.
Yeah, exactly.
And the first day, or I guess the only day, of the Pitbull concert. Well, to be fair, it's our last Pitbull concert for now.
It's our last. It's people dying.
I mean, I feel like he's probably not. Well, is he touring again?
I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know. Well, for now, it's our last Pitbull tour of our streak of Pitbull experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's pretty monumental.
Right.
And also a good send off for Austin.
Mm-hmm.
At least I feel.
Well, I think that is a foreshadow to our announcement and why we're taking a 2-month break or 3-month really. We're moving
We'll
to
see.
New York. Um,
Cue the cheers.
we're getting the fuck out of Texas because it is too damn hot here and it's gross.
Yeah.
So we are officially moving back to New York, which means that Bell on Earth will be bigger and better in the Big Apple.
And New York based, finally.
Yeah, finally. Um, do we announce our next season?
I think so. I think we should give a little hint.
Uh-huh. Well, our next season is going to be um the next step in our journey of podcasting.
Yeah, that's usually how it works when you go in order.
Yeah. Are we telling the name?
Why not?
Okay. So the next season is going to be evolution. We're going to be talking about all sorts of evolutionary stuff. It's going to be a bigger production. It's going to be a better production. We're going to take it a lot more seriously. I'm pretty excited for it. I do think this past season was pretty decent. But I think we are trying to step our game up even more than what we did this season. So
We're going to evolve.
we're going to evolve.
That's why it feels very fitting.
Yeah, in a new city. Well, I guess an old new city,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think it'll be great.
Yeah. I'm very excited. We're definitely going to, like we're saying, kind of just make it a much more professional vibe.
Yeah,
I think it's been really fun the past couple seasons, and we've just been having fun with it. But I do think that this next season we're really going to make the quality better. We're going to make the content better. We're gonna add some like visual recording aspects of it too, so you can actually see our beautiful faces, as I know all of the fans would prefer.
right.
I feel like our voices are beautiful enough, but
Our cackles really just tickle the earlobes
yeah,
in a
but they
different
need
way.
to tickle your eyeballs too.
Exactly.
So that's where we're going to be taking it. I'm very excited about it. I think we have honestly like a lot of potential with the podcast, and we have a lot of like support and backing for it.
Mm-hmm.
Our amazing producer Derek, shout out Derek.
Sherrick Derek.
Derek. And Free Studios Productions, which we're under.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have like, you know, face to face human contact with them.
Yeah.
Thrilling.
Finally.
Finally, we can start going to more like film nights and putting like our podcast in festivals and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I think it's
so
about time.
we're just trying to get our shit together basically.
Yeah.
But right now, again, we are in the throes of moving, so it's just a little bit complicated to keep the season running. So we've decided to end it a little bit earlier than we wanted to, but also at the perfect time because it's the end of Pride. So
Yeah, and I think it just makes sense. I think, like, honestly, if we kept going throughout this change period,
yeah.
then it wouldn't have been as great quality. It would have just kind of like been throwing it together. It just wouldn't have been like what we wanted it to be anyway. So I think it just makes sense for us to end it here, take some time off. We'll still like post a little bit on the account and everything and be active, and especially like on our personal accounts, we'll be around.
We'll be around.
Don't miss us too much.
Yeah.
But I think it's just going to amp up the excitement for us and creativity and stuff like that to let it build a bit and then be able to come back 10 times stronger.
For sure. With all that being said, I did want to do a little bit of reflection on this past season and like the things that we've talked about. We've had a lot of really big topics
Yeah.
and
Problematic topic.
very problematic topics. I honestly thought this was a really good season. If you were here for the first rendition of Bell on Earth, I was honestly so unhappy with that first going at it.
Yeah.
Um, that's why we ended up like deleting all of those episodes. It was just not quality I wanted. It was not like the conversations I wanted to have. And then the first season of The Rebirth, I think, was pretty decent. But I actually was pretty surprised and pretty happy with Problematic as well. Like, I thought it was really nice that we had these intricate, interesting, big topics where we shared our opinions that weren't really bounded by anything, but also were. Because I don't know, like I just think that those were really important topics to talk about, especially with everything going on in the world and all of that. It's really important to have these deeper conversations and not shy away from that stuff. But also I think it was fun for us to add our own little twists and controversies on these topics.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what the whole podcast is about, is to, I mean, obviously share like personal opinions and discuss our own perspective of everything, but also to have these conversations that maybe aren't always fully welcome in like regular day-to-day life
Yeah.
or like aren't super comfortable, so people don't always want to talk about it themselves or whatever the case may be. Just, discuss things that are a little more like taboo and
hmm
I don't know, have our little opinions on it and have our little conversations about it and actually talk about things that are difficult.
hmm Yeah, for sure. I do also want to point out that while I think everyone's entitled to their opinion, I don't think that we're entitled to like putting our opinion on other people or like I don't know, like judging their lifestyle for no reason. I think that we've kind of delved into that in several different episodes, with like the food stuff, and then obviously with the last one with the furries, and there's a couple other episodes that I think delve into that. Um, I do think it's really important to have opinions and to discuss these taboo topics and to have different ideas and thoughts and theories and stuff behind different things. But I also think it's really important that we respect each other and like understand that everyone's coming from a different background and we're allowed to like be weird. Like people are allowed to be weird. And I think that's something that um right now with like TikTok and Instagram and stuff, like I just feel like there's this like shift of like you're not allowed to be weird. I felt like there was a shift where like weird was like okay, and now it's like coming back to like no, like you have to be like the specific type of person. And I just feel like a lot of times I see people being really harsh about things, and it's just like not chill, like, just let people live. it's not that serious. It doesn't affect your life for the most part. If it does affect your life, then whatever. But like, if it doesn't, then just leave people the fuck alone.
Yeah, and it is kind of funny to me that where we are right now, Austin, that their like whole slogan is keep Austin weird. But like, I don't know. There are some aspects that I guess like can be considered weird, but especially in recent days, which I don't know, everyone has their own opinions about people moving to Texas anyway. But I just feel like it also has had that shift of like it's becoming way too normal, and
Yeah.
I really fucking hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just excited to be back in a place like New York that's like genuinely authentically weird.
Yeah.
And honestly doesn't even have to have a slogan like keep New York weird because there's no way that the weird is ever going to leave New York because it's just like so deeply rooted inside the culture.
Mm-hmm. True. I will say that I don't necessarily think it's Austin's fault that it's lost its because the whole thing of it being like quote unquote weird was really a lot of it was like the fact that it was like a small city and it was like not it was just like a lot smaller and like more had more like local people who like grew up here their whole lives and that kind of thing. And not to say that I don't think that people should move into Austin or that the growth is necessarily bad. But I do think that like it's not necessarily like the city's fault, like the city itself, its fault that it's grown and it's changed. But I agree that I just don't think it's like what it used to be, and I'm ready to go back and not be here. And it's also just too hot.
Yeah, first and foremost, it's just brutal in the summer and I can't handle it and summer's like 90% of the year here.
Mm-hmm.
And I would truthfully like rather just be winter. I don't care. I don't care about harsh winters as much as I do about harsh summers.
Yeah.
And like even here that has the like outdoor things to do, like the little I don't know. I'm not even gonna mention Barton Springs because I don't ever go there because I just
No.
don't want to.
It's gross.
But even like the natural like outdoor places, like they're always just so crowded or it's dried up and it's like there's not much to fucking do out here besides sweat.
Yeah. No, for real.
And I'm just tired of that. Like I'm really excited to be in a place where there are just like a bunch of things for us to do and places for us to go and temperature that's fucking comfortable. Like I was
Yeah.
looking at the weather app and where we are, it was like 90 something and like high humidity, and in New York it was like 77. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't fucking wait to be comfortable again and be able to wear like clothes.
Yeah. For sure. Um, but yeah, I think that like I think that that's like a good representation of kind of like what I'm talking about is just the fact that um I do think that like human beings are really weird like in general and like of course there's people who I guess you would consider like normie or whatever. But like I don't think there is like a normal culture. I think that there are just people who have different like weird interests and everyone's a little bit weird and we should allow people to be weird and have fun because it's just not worth like living life without having fun and being weird and just like following the things that make you excited. um and I do hope that we kind of get back to that. um as I've mentioned in basically every single episode that we've recorded this season, I do think that that comes from the fall of community and support and this like hyper individualism that we have uh, seemed to experience in greater quantities recently. Um, and I'm like so tired of it. Like I'm so tired of like I don't know, like I'm just so tired of like culture right now. And I do hope that like hopefully maybe it will come with our move, but also just I hope there is a shift in like the culture at large to just like chill the fuck out and stop being so fucking annoying and boring all the time.
Well, I think that also comes with like your own personal experiences and like I don't necessarily feel that either of us fully connect with a lot of people down here and like I don't really feel like we are part of the culture and like I think that people that do connect with the culture down here have an easier time finding the community,
Yeah.
because it just like clicks with them and it makes more sense and it's something they want to be a part of. But honestly, like there are some great people that I've met out here, but honestly, besides like my current, I don't know, even like at my current job, like it's still not like my almost like final destination, final home type feeling type thing. Like it's still something where I am ready, even though I'm happy, like I'm ready to move on and like I am excited to find people that like I truly, truly connect with and that feel like community to me.
Mhm. No, yeah, I totally feel that. I feel the same way. Like, I do truly, there are like people down here that I do truly like and who are really nice and really good people. But it's just time to move on and to evolve, I
Oh,
guess,
yeah.
is like the whole point. And,
I mean, that's why it's so fitting, like the way that our seasons have happened too.
mm-hmm,
Because like we've named them how we've named them for a reason.
yeah, for
They've kind
sure.
of followed like our own life paths as well.
Exactly. And I do think that we have a lot of really big things coming up. We have a lot of really big plans that we're not going to share just now, but we are dreaming big over here.
Yes, we
And I
should.
just think that um, not only do we like have these plans, but we do also need like the like right environment and right like support culture for it to thrive. And again, I think that that relates to a lot of the stuff that we've talked about in this season is, having the right environment and having the right community surrounding you is really important. And it's honestly, in my opinion, one of the most important things when it comes to the development of a human being, whether it be from like child to adulthood or even just in adulthood. Having the correct environment for you to thrive in is just very, very important. Like plants can't grow if they're just in like a locked closet, right? Like you have to be out in the sun and have water and all that other stuff. So, I think that that's what we're trying to do right now is like water our own grass and our own sun, with this move in particular, but also just I think personally for me, like in my journey, I'm also looking for an environment where I can thrive just like, on a personal level. And also I really do hope like within our culture that we kind of start to shift towards that. I think right now things feel very like gloomy and gloomy. And like that I think is like something that stresses me out a little bit. But I do think that hopefully we will start to see that shift into something that we can have a lot more like substance as well as hope in.
Yeah, and I think like with our move, we're also like just embodying what the point of this podcast even is about.
Yeah.
Um, and it's about like creating heaven and hell for yourself here on earth. And honestly, like I feel like we have spent the time that we needed to in Austin to find ourselves and create the path that we need to take. But I
Mhm.
also believe that staying stagnant and staying where we are is, in a sense, or would, in a sense, create that hell for ourselves because it's not where we're meant to be. It's not like what we're meant to be doing. And by pursuing the things that we're meant to be doing and by going to the places where we know we belong, I think that in itself is us finding that heaven for ourselves and pursuing the things that really are going to like bring out the best in what our lives could possibly offer.
Mhm. Yeah. So true. Um I think it's just like really, really important. And of course, there is like some privilege that comes with that, right? Like being able to move, having no ties here, yada, yada. But um, I do think it's really important to forge that path for yourself. And sometimes it is just time to go and not worry about what other people feel or think or whatever. Um, and also, like, sometimes it's just, like, good to even if we weren't moving necessarily back to New York, like, I think it's just good to, um, be able to, like, move on from stuff, especially when you do feel stagnant and closed in by the things that are around you. Like, I personally feel very stagnant here and it's just not working anymore. And it's just time to like follow my intuition and not like question that, you know.
Well, I think that's what it's all about because, like, it's gonna look different for everyone.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical move.
no, and like it also like even when you have like opportunities that like work for you, sometimes you still have to choose like what is going to be like even better for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like sometimes you do have to leave people that you care about in order to care for yourself in a better way
Mm-hmm.
or to like make difficult decisions. Like you're allowed to love the place that you are, but also like pursue bigger and better things for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And like it's just, um we only have like the one life to live and again I
YOLO.
yeah, YOLO. YOLO. Um
We really knew back in what, 2009 or whatever, whenever YOLO was big.
mhm,
Really knew back then, huh?
we did. Um but
Bring it
yeah,
back.
bring it back. I feel like it's bent back.
True.
Yeah. But is like again like you were saying like the whole point of this podcast is to create like that heaven for yourself and obviously it's never going to be like perfect. There's always going to be something somewhere cuz unfortunately it's just like the way that life works, but um you know I do think it's really important to just like take care of yourself and to put those things first, and then to allow yourself to thrive. And of course, again, that can mean so many different things for so many different people. Um, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean like abandoning everything or like making a big jump or taking, a big step or anything like that. It could be something very small and little, like small little adjustments, or it could be something big. And that's just, I think, again, like what we're trying to get across, specifically with this season, is that everyone is unique and different, and yet we all have very similar experiences at the same time. And so it's about like listening to each other and having these discussions and talking about these, harder topics while also forming your own opinions and making your own decisions for yourself that work for you, because people are so different and are so unique and everyone has a different situation, and yet we can all relate to each other, and that's kind of the beauty of the human experience.
Yeah, and that's why I really enjoyed and respected our season, like this past season of Problematic, because I think it really emphasizes and like highlights the fact that there are so many topics that we kind of just deem as like good or bad or whatever it is. And like there's always so much nuance to it.
Hmm.
And like even things that, like when you talk about like cancel culture, right? Like it's so easy to just like jump on the bandwagon and be like, oh yeah, that person sucks because of one certain thing or whatever it is. But it's also really important to understand that life is really complicated and life is problematic and life is not going to be black or white. It's always going to be shades of gray.
Hmm.
Um, even when things are like darker or lighter shades of gray, it's still going to be shades of gray. There's still going to be so many layers to each situation
Yeah.
that, like, even if you don't sit and fucking research every little thing that happens in this world, because obviously you just can't, I
Mhm.
think it's also important to like recognize the fact that things are more complicated than it seems. And when you form a strong opinion on something you have no real knowledge about, to at least recognize the fact that like you might not be fully correct or you might have a different opinion if faced with new information.
Mhm.
And you're allowed to also change your mind about things. You're allowed to have like different opinions or like multifaceted views on
Yeah.
these things. Like you can understand that it's not necessarily good or bad or neutral. Like it can kind of hold different like views at the same time.
Mhm.
Um and just like in general that kind of translates into what we are saying about like culture and stuff like that too, of a lot of the time people just assume that something's weird because it's new or it's different. They've never really experienced that before. That doesn't mean that it's bad. Weird is not bad. Weird is just different and a new thing for you to experience. So experience it. And you can, at the end of the day, dislike it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's experience it. Yeah, fucking experience it. Why not?
Like,
Like, I
live
just don't
life.
understand. I
Yeah.
just don't understand people that like are faced with something new and immediately just hate it. Like, I don't know. I like even with like food.
Mhm.
Like, I understand some people can be picky eaters, but maybe I'm just a Taurus and I like to eat.
Mhm.
But like it is so annoying when people refuse to try things because they're new or they just like deem it as gross before even trying it. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like, will you not let yourself experience things? And what if it's bad? Experience bad.
Yeah, it's okay to be uncomfortable and it's okay to have bad experiences too. It's actually
Yeah,
kind of a good thing because then you can find out what you don't like.
exactly. You understand what you don't like and you appreciate the things that you do like even more.
Yeah,
So, like,
exactly.
experience bad.
Mhm.
Safi's experiencing bad right now.
Sappy existentially experiences bad consistently, like just all the time.
I don't know if you can hear Safi in the background, but she's meowing because she's upset that fettuccine
Exists.
exists. Exists.
Is exists.
He does exists.
Love fettuccine. But yeah, no, I think that's a really, really good point. Is to allow yourself to grow, allow yourself to learn, allow yourself to experience. And of course, listen, like there's certain things that will ultimately hold you back. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, right? And if you choose to work through it, so be it. If not, then, you can work around it. But it's not, not everything is out of your control. And there's definitely things in your control that you can choose to experience and choose to learn and choose to grow and choose to be a better person every day or a worse person if that's what you choose,
Yeah,
whatever.
not my
Um,
life.
yeah. And, I think that is like kind of the point of what we're trying to get across is just that life is more complicated than we tend to imagine. And it's okay. It's actually quite exciting because then we get to learn and we get to know new things and we get to try new stuff. And it's cool. It's cool to like not know all the time.
Yeah. I prefer not knowing most of the
Yeah,
time.
true. I do think that that's a really great place to end this episode. We just wanted to do a real quick one to let everyone know like what we're planning and what we're doing.
Yeah.
So if you are missing us, you can reach out on Bella and Earth Pod on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. I think we have a Twitter, but I don't really use it.
I would prefer not to use it.
Yeah, I don't really use Twitter. We
Not
also
even
have
Twitter anymore.
no, it's not. But we do also have our personal Instagrams. Mine is Benoiso Kittens.
Mine is Ducky Volcano.
And we will be back soon. We'll be back in the
Yes.
fall with a new season of Bell on Earth. So, yeah, thank you for all the support and for listening and for, um, I don't know, just being there. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited. I very much appreciate like everyone who has listened, everyone who has reached out, everyone who has reviewed or liked or commented or whatever it is that you're like doing to interact with us. I think it's really awesome that even though we're still small right now, we still have people who really do support us.
Yeah, it is
And
pretty nice.
I do think that it's only going to get bigger and better from here, and I'm really excited to truly take things seriously. Again, like we were kind of talking about, I think this last season we took more serious, but like I don't necessarily think that we had all of the right like equipment and
Mm-hmm.
things and stuff like that lined us up for like pure success.
Yeah,
Which I don't know, at the end of the day, like it wasn't our like highest priority.
yeah,
Um, but I also think we're both ready to make it a priority. And even though we're not going to be able to make it like a full-time job right now, just because that's how things work when you start off on your creative pursuits.
yeah.
But ideally, we will get it to a point where we are more successful, whatever success ends up looking like for us. I don't know, but that is the goal. You know, we do want to make it a more professional thing, a more successful thing, and I'm excited for what Bell and Earth is going to turn into.
Me
What it's
too.
going to evolve into.
What it will evolve to. We're manifesting our
Yeah,
evolution.
exactly. We really are. And so, you know,
The
the podcast is
evolution
going to
will be
evolve with us.
yes. No, it absolutely will. And I'm very excited for what is next to come.
Yeah.
And I guess there's only one thing that's left to say at this point.
Well, until then, see you in New York and
Bye.
bye.
Cow.
Thank you for listening to Bell on Earth, the podcast. We hope that your minds have been expanded and your pussies have been opened.
Be sure to rate and follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
This podcast is brought to you by Free Studio Productions. It's hosted and produced by Cassidy and Casey Bell. Big thanks to our executive producer, Derek Benton.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for all of your content needs. See you later, haters.